What's doing, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. If you've never been here before, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and the thumbs up. Everybody else, welcome back. Welcome back. If you've never been here before, I served 17 years straight in the New York prison system. Most of those years in the maximum security prison system, like Sing Sing and Attica, real serious joints. Uh, this is a story that I'm about to tell that I told on my channel over a year ago, and many people were asking me to tell the story again for those of you that are new viewers and may not have seen it. And it took place on Rikers Island. I spent 3 years on Rikers Island fighting my case. So a lot of intense stories there. This is a story that I'm definitely, I will say, not proud of. This is a story that's a bit intense. I'm going to get right into it, and you'll understand why I say that along the way. I had a buddy in Rikers Island. His name was John. John was an Irish guy, real tough guy. He was an older guy. When I was about 24 years old, he was in his 40s, in his late 40s, and he ran with the Westies, which was like an Irish mob, like an Irish gang at a Hell's Kitchen in New York City. And John was on Rikers Island as well, serving time. He worked in the law library, running the copy machine for people. So if you needed to copy your legal work or make a copy of anything, John would run the copy machine. And when I went down to the law library, we hit it off. We started talking. We knew a few of the same people on the street, and whatever. Like I said, we hit it off. And I would go down there and visit him all the time. You get a pass, you go down to the law library, hang out with your boy for a little bit. And one day when I'm down there, he says to me, "Yo, Fish, you see that guy on the typewriter over there?" I look over and there's a white guy in his 30s working on a typewriter, doing some legal work. And I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He says, "If you ever see that guy, you ever catch that guy alone," he says, "I want you to break his jaw for me." So I says, "What's up?" He says, "The guy raped his kids." So I says, "Oh, man." I says, How do you know for sure, John? How do you know?" So John told me, he said, "Listen, I run the copy machine." He said, "He gave me his legal case," he says, "to copy because he needed a copy of it." He says, "And I made my own set of copies without telling him." He said, "Because I saw the charges that he was in jail for." He says, "And I read the whole thing." He said, "If you want to read it, you can read it." He says, "That guy raped his own kids, young kids like 7 years old, 9 years old." And so, of course, I want to attack the guy right there. I want to get him right there. But he said, "If you ever see him, you break his jaw for me." I says, "No problem." And I take a look at the guy, put the mental note inside of my head, and it's the following day. The next day I have court. I have to go to court. And you go into the bullpens when you go to court. And what the bullpens is there's like 10 cells for everybody going to court. So they have, if you're going to the Bronx, you're in this cell, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island. They separate everyone by way they're getting shipped out to court. And the bullpens are pandemonium in the morning. I'm talking chaos. I'm talking 500 guys going to court at 5:30 in the morning. They wake you up. They strip search you. You're going through metal detectors. You're carrying your clothes in bins. There's 500 guys walking around butt naked. All you hear is the chains and the shackles of people getting changed and shackled. And it's. I would like to say it's organized chaos, but it is in a way. But I don't know how organized it is. It's really out of control, and it's like 6 in the morning when you get down there. So guys are just waking up. They're going to court. They're stressed out. And like I said, the sound of the chains and the shackles and "Where you going?" "I'm going to Brooklyn. I'm going to Bronx," and boom, boom, boom. And it's pandemonium, man. Pandemonium, like you can't even imagine. It's so hard to explain, between 300 and 500, 600 guys going to court, and there's 50 officers down there and everyone's screaming and yelling. And they asked me where I'm going to court in Queens. And so after you get strip searched and they search your clothes and run you through an X-ray machine, you get dressed, and they say, "All right, which bullpen do you want? Which bullpen are you going into?" I says, Queens had like 2 or 3 bullpens for guys that were going to Queens. So I says, put me in right here. And I walk into the bullpen, and my buddy Big Lee is in there. I've done a video about Big Lee. Lee's a former United States Marine. He was facing 25 years to life, and I was in the dormitory with him. So we're in the bullpen together, and we're just talking, shooting the shit. What they say in prison, shooting the Willy Bobo. I mean, it's just talking, having a conversation, and I look over and I see the guy that was on the typewriter. He's in the bullpen with me, and right away I get that feeling in me, And I was a 24-year-old, out of control, crazy guy in sick physical condition too at the time, and I turn around and I tell Lee, you see that guy over there? He says, what's up? I says, he raped his kids. I says, and I'm about to get him right now. So Lee's on my side no matter what. He says, whatever you want to do, Fish. I said, just do me a favor. Don't let anyone jump in, so I don't have to watch my back. Now we're in a bullpen. This cell is maybe 12 by 12, and there's 40, 50 people crammed into this 12 by 12. Like, it's standing room only. There's no place to sit. The only thing in there is the benches along the wall for guys to sit, and a little toilet behind the partition. And that's where the guy is. He's leaning against the partition where the toilet bowl is on the other side of it. And I walk over, it's real tight in there, real tight. And I walk over to the partition and I go in front of the toilet bowl like I'm going to take a piss, like I'm going to take a leak. And I go and I have the guy sized up perfectly. He's not paying any attention. He has no idea what's about to happen to him, no idea this is coming. And to this day, this is one of the hardest shots I probably ever hit anyone in my life. Not the hardest. It might be. It's up there. It's in the ranking, but one of the hardest I ever hit anyone in my life. And what I do is I take my elbow. All right. The elbow is much stronger than the fist. I always tell everybody this on a side note. You hear of people breaking their hand, you hear of people breaking their arm, you hear of people breaking their shoulder, but you never hear, very rarely hear, someone breaks the elbow. You can break cinder blocks with your elbow. And I know how to throw it nice. And I come on the other side of that partition, I line this guy up, and with all my might, I just take my elbow and cave him right in the center of his face. Boom! I mean, he explodes. The blood just explodes out of his face. He goes right down onto the ground, and everyone moves against the walls. As soon as they see the action, everyone backs up. And he's down on the ground, and I give him a couple of solid kicks to the face. And when I say that I have strong legs, I'm not trying to brag. I'm a pretty humble guy. I was squatting 600 pounds. I had powerful, powerful legs. And I give this guy 2 solid kicks inside of his face. And he is basically unconscious. Like, the first kick knocks him unconscious, if he wasn't unconscious from the elbow already. The second kick in the face wakes him up. His teeth are out of his mouth. His eye is cracked open from the elbow. He's laying on the floor in a puddle of blood, and he can just mumble a few words. And I hear him say, "What are you doing?" And I said, "You want to rape your kids? You want to rape your kids?" And he goes, "I'm a burglar." I said, "You ain't no burglar, mother. You ain't no burglar." And a couple of the young kids that were in the bullpen with me, right? Kids that respected me from the dorm, they knew me up from the dorm. They're like, "What's up, Fish?" I said, "This guy raped his kids." So they start pounding on this guy. They're punching him in the face. They're kicking him. They're giving him a sick beating. I had to stop him at this point because I feared that the guy would die. I feared that he would be killed because he was completely limp, laying in a puddle of blood. At this point, there was no teeth in his mouth. His eye was cracked open. His face was cracked open. He's really taking a sick beating. But that's what you get when you molest your own children. This is what happens when you go to Rikers Island with a charge like that. That's what's going to happen to you. So now it's time. I got to stop everyone because I really think he's gonna be killed. So I'm like, all right, easy. Now I got to clean up. I had on like a sweater, a nice sweater, because I was going to court, but I had a little blood on it. So I take the sweater off. I toss it in the garbage pail. I got a shirt on underneath it, and I'm wiping the blood off my sneakers. I go by the toilet where there's a little sink too. I'm cleaning the blood off of my shoes, and and there's no cops around. You think, where are the cops? There's chaos and pandemonium down there. The cops are all over the place. It's so loud down there, you can't hear anything. And it takes a couple of minutes. It takes 2, 3 minutes for a cop to walk by and see this guy on the floor, unconscious, hardly breathing, face cracked open, teeth knocked out. And the cop sees this every day. The cop sees this 10 times a day. So he doesn't panic. He sees the guy and then he makes an announcement. I got one down over here. I got one down over here. And the officers come. They take this guy. They put him on a stretcher and they take him out of there to the hospital. And then they take all of us that are in the bullpen and they line us up against the wall, right? They're not going to ask who did it. Yeah, who did this? You think someone's going to answer, right? They line everyone up against the wall and they ask you to put your hands out like this. They want to check your hands to see if there's any bruises on your hands from punching someone, if there's any cuts on your hand. So we got 40, 50 guys against the wall with their hands out. The officer comes with a flashlight. He's looking at everybody's hands. Thankfully, I didn't punch the guy at all. I elbowed him. I was kicking him in the face. I got no bruises on my hands. Then they ask you to lift up your shirt. You got to lift up your shirt. They want to see if you have any marks on your shirt. They make you lift up your shirt and turn around, or they make you take off your shirt and spin around. They want to see if there's any stab wounds, any bruises, right? So, but their main concern is getting 4, 5, 600 guys to court. That's what their main concern is. There are judges waiting in Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, and they need the defendants in front of them. So they're concentrating on getting everybody chained, getting everybody shackled, getting everybody cleared, getting them on the buses, and getting them to court, because everybody's got to be to court before 9 o'clock in the morning, right? And so that's what the officers are really concentrating on. And so after we all get cleared, we all get put back in the bullpen, and then we make our way to court. And that's what I do. I get cuffed, I get shackled, and nobody's going to open their mouth in this situation and talk about and be a rat, because there's too many people there. If you rat, someone's going to find out right away, and then you're done. You're finished, right? And so I go to court, and the court is crazy. It takes like 9, 10 hours to go to court. You end up coming back to Rikers Island like 5, 6 p.m. after dinner time. Court is an all-day process. I should do a video just on how stressful court is. I think I did one years ago. And so now I come back from court. I go to the dormitory and end up going to sleep. And in the morning when I wake up, I sign up for the law library because I want to go tell John that I got the guy. You know what I mean? I'm proud that I got the guy for him. He asked me to get him, and I got him within 24 hours. And so I sign up for the law library, and I go down there. There's John working the copy machine. He says, "Yo, what's up, Fish? Hey, brother." Give him a big hug. I says, "I got you, brother. I took care of it." He says, "What's that?" I says, "The child molester. I caught him in the bullpen yesterday on the way to court." I said, "That guy will be lucky if he's alive." I said, "He's hardly breathing." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "The guy you told me to get, dude, I got him. I got him for you." He said, "Fish, what are you talking about?" He said, "The guy is sitting right there." And I look over, and there's the guy sitting on the typewriter like he was the other day without a mark on him. I got the wrong guy. I beat the wrong man. To my justification, they looked so much alike it was crazy, but it was the wrong guy. And now I understood why the guy was saying, "I'm a burglar. I'm a burglar." That's what the guy was saying when he was on the floor. Do I feel horrible about it? Of course I feel horrible about it. It's 20 years later and I still feel horrible about it. I always said if I ever see that guy, if I ever ran into that guy, I'll let him punch me right in the face because I deserve it. But it was an honest mistake. And if there's any lesson from that story, besides the fact that I was a jerk off at that moment because I made a mistake, but if there's any lesson from the story, it's that anything can happen to you when you go onto Rikers Island. Anything can happen to you, even if it's misidentification, even if it's the wrong person. You go onto Rikers Island, it's barbaric. And that's the story of me catching the wrong dude on Rikers Island. Don't hate me for it, please. All right? Don't hate me for it. It was an honest mistake. I'm out of here, guys. All my best. Enjoy the day. Take care.